Pack 38, I would like to introduce to you Gary and Monica. Right? I keep wanting to say Miranda, which she's also letting me call her, but it's actually Monica.
Sorry,
And they are our subject matter experts on snakes and spiders. Now, I met Gary and Monica at the Bancroft Neighborhood Association. I tabled to sort of talk about Pack 38 and about Bancroft. And as it turns out, we had something in common. They were associated with Troop 120, which was the scouting troop that was here before we arrived. And so they've got a long history of scouting, and so we had a nice chat about that. And then they mentioned spiders, which I have zero history with. I thought, well, that'll be interesting. Gary's also an engineer, so I might be bringing you back for some of your engineering expertise for some of the other things. Yeah. But apart from that, let's give Gary and Monica all of our attention. Let's be gentle with their critters that they've brought with us. You're going to get a close-up view if you'd like. They are the managers. They are the caretakers. Listen to them when you come close to the animals. Linnea?
are we gonna be able to hold any?
And that is 100% dependent on how stuff goes. But the goal is, yeah, maybe something will be held in terms of the snake world, not the spider world.
Not spider world.
Not the spider world. Yeah. Okay, anyway, having said that, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Good ears.
I think you're going to enjoy this. Okay, today we're going to talk about snakes and spiders, and these are my pets. Okay, they're not puppy dogs or anything, but I've always had weird pets. So what we have here is we have a big spider, a little snake, which you'll be able to hold or actually, cup in your hands, and a big snake, which you can do the same thing. I just want to start off is that the snakes are not venomous. I have one, but these are what are called constrictors. Do you know what that means?
No.
Well, how do they kill their prey? Go ahead, yeah.
They squeeze themselves. They squeeze the prey until they die.
That's correct, and until they
swallow
can't.
them whole.
Exactly. Okay, so that's what snakes do. So I haven't done this in a while, so I got some notes because I don't want to forget anything because I love these animals. Snakes, I will just tell you this, snakes are cold-blooded. Do you know what that means?
Yes.
Go ahead.
That they, I forget.
Okay, anybody else? Yeah, okay, you're very eager, I like that.
Cold-blooded means like you can't survive because you have cold-blooded and you need to be warm more.
Correct. You kids and actually all us humans, our body temperature is supposed to be about 98.6. You heard that. You get a fever, okay, well, we know that. But snakes and spiders, for that matter, their body temperature is the same as the air around it. So if they're in a room that's the temperature is 75 degrees, their body temperature is 75, and they're cool. And these kind don't like that. If it's hot, they get hot. So they can't control their body temperature like you do. So that's one thing about snakes and spiders. So the big one, I'm going to talk about the big one. I'll show you. Actually, I can probably hold this one. This little one is not a tropical critter. It lives all over in North America, and it's called a western hognose snake. Now, this is just a baby. He's going to be about as big as the big one. But I've had him, and his name is Boss Hog because he's a hognose snake. Okay, oh, boy, I'm so clever. When I got him, he was about as big as a pencil, so he's grown some. And he eats little bitty baby mice. I get them from the pet store. And they're frozen, they're dead, they're frozen, and you warm them up under a light, and then he smells them and eats them. Do you know how snakes smell?
Yeah.
No idea.
I do tongue.
Exactly. Very good. Okay. Boy, I might have just brought the snake with their tongue. You guys are very good. I love to see that you like animals. So they stick out their tongues, and in the air is little particles of stuff from animals and trees and people in your dandruff. All kinds of things are in the air. And the snakes go out and they get their tongue and they get particles in the air or on the ground, and they take it back in their mouth, and their part of their mouth, called Jacobson's organ, that'll be in the quiz, is where they can tell what it is. So they're constantly putting their tongue out. When they put their tongue out on you, they want to see what you are. They're basically tasting you. Okay, it's just, who's too big to eat.
They're not
So,
biting you. They're just
I'm sorry?
They're licking.
Sure, they're licking you. That's fine. And that's how they taste things. Okay, so we've already said that they take their prey and they squeeze it, and then they swallow it whole. Now the question is, and you'll see on the big snake, he's about that big around, and snakes can generally swallow something that's 1.5 times the size of their body, and their mouth isn't that big. So how do they get these big things down their throat? Go ahead. Yeah. Yes, I don't know your name, but
Me?
yes, you.
They have teeth. They have like teeth inside their mouth
They do.
that makes them mushy. That turns them into liquid.
No. Okay, that's a good guess, but that's not what they do. They have teeth in their mouth that help them hold their prey and sometimes push it back. But what they do is their mouths are such that they can unhook their jaws. Remember, you eating something that big would be like you swallowing whole a grapefruit, okay? So that won't work. So what they do is their jaws actually physically unhook, and then their mouths stretch, and then the muscles in their body make it go down. Make it go down their throat, and they swallow it whole. So they don't. It gets gushy inside them because there's stomach acid, but they don't chew their food. Okay, so they don't do anything to it. Spiders, on the other hand, you'll find out you're absolutely correct. So anyway, so this guy is that sort of thing. I'm just talking in general about snakes and using him as an example. Oh yes. Thank you. My able assistant has a better memory than I do because she's 8 years younger than me.
Thank you,
Okay. The snakes grow. When you grow, your skin grows with you. When these guys grow, they get bigger and bigger, and their skin doesn't grow, so they shed their skin. And that is the
example of two different sheds. One, if you stretch them out, one they shed like every.
It depends on
6
how old
months?
they are. They shed more frequently when they're
Anyway,
young
so
because they're
this
growing
one
more.
Is about 6 inches longer than this one.
Yeah. And they're shed. They start at the top and they just kind of peel it back on a rock or something hard. And we can pass these around. You can look at them. As your leader said, don't pull on it. I mean, they'll break, no big deal. Like I love them, but they're fragile. If you want to pick it up and touch it. And I just want to say, if you touch the snake or the skins, when you're done to go home, you have to wash your hands.
Before
Okay?
you go home.
Whatever.
Before you continue.
Don't.
Okay, I'm going to start passing this around, but two things I want you to see is this one, which was a perfect shed because it started from the nose, peeled back, and they lose their coverings of their eyes. So you'll see the 2 eye coverings, and you'll also see the mouth. So like he said, it's just like turning your socks on inside out when you take them off. The snakes take their skin off inside out, and then they crawl out and they have a brand new skin. You can pass it around if you want to see it. That's the one with the eyes, and you can just feel. I mean, no big deal.
Okay.
When can we check out the snake?
Listen, the Scout motto is Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent, and patient. I put that one on there. Okay, you can add that. So, all right. So,
Still be patient.
yes.
I've learned that how you can tell if a snake is shedding if their eyes are turning blue.
Well, yes, I mean,
Yes.
close. What happens when they shed is, like Nika said, their eye covering gets replaced too. So that there's a piece of skin over their eye, and that it becomes opaque. It means you can't see through it. So the colors can be different depending upon the kind of snake it is. But you can tell when your snake's going to shed by looking at his eye covers, because it'll just look kind of milky, and they don't see well. And that's why when they're shedding, you have to be careful because they're irritable, because they can't see around them. It's a dangerous time for them because of predators and stuff like that. Okay, I think I'm gonna get to the big one. Okay, so I'm gonna put him back, and when at the end you're gonna all swoop up here, and you can either touch or hold this one depending upon you and your parents. This snake is totally harmless. I don't think it could bite through your skin even if you wanted, but it's not venomous. It's a friendly, lovely little snake, and it's just a pleasure to hold. Okay, so we're gonna put you back and make sure you don't try to escape. And now we're going to talk about the big one. And this one is a python. And yeah, let's
I will tell you.
Pythons are venomous.
It's called a ball python, and you'll see why when I take them out.
Oh my god. That guy is cute.
Oh.
Oh yeah, not this one. There's no way I'm going this one. Oh, he could eat it. Oh, he could eat it.
No action.
I should make a
I heard something that made me very happy, was that you said that, oh, he's shedding. So you actually listened or already knew more than I do. But right here, when they shed, it sometimes it comes off in a whole shed like she showed you. There's some pieces here that are that, and I'm going to let these hand around. And if any of you want to break these into small pieces and take one for a souvenir, that's fine with me, okay? You can put them in little, you know, so anyway. But the point is, he's shedding, and his skin is, he's almost done, and you just peel it off. And you don't do that too soon because it hurts him. But he'll do it, he'll take care of it for himself. But, okay, now the other thing is, I scared him. This is called a ball python, and what does he look like right now around here? A ball. And when they're afraid, and he's just afraid because I just took him out of the traveling case, they wrap up in a ball, and that's why they call them ball pythons, okay? So, he's from Africa, and he gets to be maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 feet long. So he's fully mature, and right now he's got his eye on me. And
He's like, let me go.
exactly, and he would now he wouldn't survive very well out here. He'd die pretty quickly. But let me see if there's anything I need to say about him.
Like you.
I'm sorry.
He's trying to lick
Of course he is. I'll tell you what I'll do.
you. Is it right here?
Let me see if I can get it.
This close. He was this close. To you.
I know you have to watch their head because they get kind of nervous.
Oh. No.
Hang on. There you go. Now he can squeeze very hard. If he wanted to squeeze, he wouldn't kill me or anything, but he can make the veins stand out on my neck. So snakes are, I mean, you know, other than their guts, they're just all muscle. You know, they're extremely strong, and he's heavy. Yes.
How old is he?
How old is he?
Freckles is about 8 years old.
Okay. I have sheds from him, but I got him. He was about this long, and he's about that big now. Now, we were talking about what they eat. He
These are
eats.
some of his sheds. So when we got Freckles, he was this big.
So he
This
grew.
was probably about 4 years ago. And the bigger ones, as you can see, they don't come off as nice because he just wants to get out of it. He's just wrestling around.
Okay, here's the reason she's being very kind to me, and you'll get a tip later. It's hard to keep his. You get perfect sheds when the temperature and humidity of the cage is just right, and it's hard to keep his cage at the right humidity. So I don't get a perfect shed. You know, it doesn't hurt anything, but it just means I'm not a great pet god. So that's a joke, and I think I got to stop here. Okay, what does he eat? Right now, okay, I told you, they eat small mammals. So he would eat like a rat or something like that. He eats rats that are about this long, about as big around as a C-cell flashlight. You know, just when he eats, it leaves a lump in him. Like I said, he can eat stuff that is about 1.5 times roughly his body size. So let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I don't forget anything.
Gary, while we're on the what does he eat, can you speak a little bit about what role Freckles or other snakes
Yes.
sort of play in keeping the environment
Oh yes,
functioning, biodiversity,
thank
that
you
kind of
for-
thing?
yeah, for sure. One of the things that you see is, or you hear that farmers like snakes and you know, just wild snakes, and the reason is that they eat rodents. When I said I give them dead rodents, they would like nothing more than to see a rodent. When I hold a mouse, a dead heated mouse in front of him with tongs, and I do it with tongs, because he will strike at it. You know, he thinks it's alive. He'll sniff it. He'll think it's alive, and he hits it hard. You know, I mean, it's like he's striking. And we'll also talk about spiders. They do us a big service by cutting down on the amount of rodents and and bugs. You'd be up to your ankles in bugs if it weren't for spiders. I mean, there's spiders everywhere, not tarantulas, but we'll get to that. But they serve an important role in the food chain as it goes up. So is he on me still? I mean, yeah. Okay, we're fine. So thank you for reminding me about that. They play a very important role.
But then when man interferes with nature, like in Florida, they introduced snakes, and they realized that the python population in Florida has wiped out certain small rodent species, and so now there's a bounty on them.
They've wiped out more than the small rodent species. During one of the hurricanes, a bunch of pythons from Asia got out, and they unfortunately are the top predators. So there was nothing that would kill them. They just reproduced like crazy, and they've actually endangered several species of smaller animals there. You know, so they've got a problem. And he's starting to make a joke here. Believe me, he can do it. Okay, let's see. I'm going to quickly. Oh, that's another thing. Spiders and snakes are oviparous. Do you know what that means?
No.
Oh, somebody must. Come on, you guys are so smart.
No.
Okay, that means they lay eggs.
Oh yeah. I did hear the word.
So both this and the spider, which I'll talk about briefly, lay eggs, and they lay eggs in a hatch. And once the eggs hatch, the mothers leave. The mothers are not good mothers from our point of view, and the snakes are on their own, and that's the end of their family life. They lay, I don't know, they lay a dozen eggs, and you know. Wait until you. Well, they don't put them in a pack or anything, you know.
Don't confuse them with chicken eggs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's. I'm gonna try to put him back in the box. You know, once you let him out of the box, they don't want to go. And then I'm gonna talk about spiders, and then we're gonna do the touch part of touch and see.
Touching spiders?
Well, but I wanna get the spider out of him. I want to devote myself 100% to this.
Snake does not want to leave you.
He's not gonna like this.
You're not gonna touch this. What happened to your arms? Did the snake take your arms?
He's trying to shed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the one that's going to be iffy. This is a spider. It's a Mexican red-leg tarantula, and it doesn't like being cooped up. But it's actually the problem is I have two of these. A big one. This is my small one. I have a big one. It's about that big around. Tarantulas get to be 10 inches, 10 inches across. Some of the South American ones, they're huge. And you've heard of bird-eating spiders. Well, they can eat birds, you know, if they can catch them. Now, this is the young one. And now, did you see him kicking his legs here? Let me see if I can do this again. There, it's hard to see.
It's all
Come here. Now get it so I can get in there. I'm not afraid of the spider. I've had spiders before. I mean, I hold them all the time. But this one is young, and they're fast and excitable. And the problem is that they're fragile. Spiders are called arthropods, and it's not going to be on a quiz, but those are things that don't have bones. And if he were to fall, she is a woman, a girl spider now. She would probably die if she hit the ground because they have no, they're just very soft. Well, let's get to it. Spiders like this. How many eyes do you think they have?
8.
How many kids do you have here?
They have as many eyes as the
I'm going to give you a round of applause.
What are your
Okay, that's good. 8 eyes. That's amazing. All right. Okay, you guys. How many legs do they have?
8.
Very good. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I heard that tarantulas start scratching the back of their butt with hairs that fly off
With
because of predators. Their abdomen.
yes, and I was just saying that earlier. And I hope, I don't want her to get out again, but she is exciting. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna touch the back of her, and what they do is they, like if a mole or something, a little animal was gonna come up and was interested in them, they kick the hairs off of their behind, and the hairs are just very irritating.
They're super sharp.
And they're tiny little things, and they get in the eyes of the predator. Now I'm gonna try this again and not see if you will. Now, okay, I'm not afraid of this. I just don't want her to get out. No, now she's not gonna do it. All right, she did it earlier. Now Nika has here. They shed their skin, and we have some skins that we can pass around. You gotta be very careful if you want to touch these because they're very fragile. And when they shed their skins, they shed their eye coverings. They shed their fangs. They actually shed their fangs. They shed their spinnerets, which I'm going to talk about briefly. And then they shed the little claws on their feet. So they shed everything. And if you, I don't know.
There's 3 different, carapaces of
Hold on,
these.
back 38, back 38.
And so there's a really teeny tiny one here, and that was her first shed. And if you, as Gary said, when it's ready to shed, the top, what is that called again?
Carapace?
Yeah, peels back, and his legs are very like jelly, and they come out of the exoskeleton and in a hole, and then they crawl out, and then they kind of have to stabilize because they can't really articulate their legs with jelly, with the jelly, so they just kind of sit still until they dry, and then they go about. And their color changes, they get very, very vibrant. So this was a little one. This, you can see the actual opening of the carapace, you can see the legs. These are super fragile. And this is from an old tarantula he had. He's had 7 tarantulas. We've been married 42 years, so I'm the patient one. But anyway, so this one is from an older one, but this is neat because you can even see the front.
You can see the fangs on these. Another thing is when they shed, they roll over on their back. Like she said, the carapace, which is the top hard part, and then they just wiggle out of their legs. The skin just like that. So you can take a look at those. You can touch them.
How long do they live?
Well, thank you for asking. Oh, I forgot. In captivity, the females can live for 30 years. I've had some that lived over 10 or 15 years. That's
Pretty cool, huh?
The snakes, the pythons in captivity live for 40 years. So and that's that. Spiders eat bugs, and when they whoever it was, I think it was the girl, said that the snakes, kind of mush them up. Spiders do that. When they inject the venom, one, it paralyzes the prey, and it also starts to digest it. Okay. When you eat food, when you're eating, the saliva in your mouth is actually starting to break down the food, so you're digesting when you're eating. Same thing with the spiders. They juice them up, and then they do it. I feed mine crickets. You can feed them mealworms. You can actually feed them small mice if you're that cold-blooded. I don't care to do that, but they'll take them. Spiders are cold-blooded. They're arthropods. I'm just trying to think of stuff that's going to be on the quiz. They are okay. All spiders have venom. Now, if this tarantula had bitten me, it would have hurt because if you look on the thing, their fangs are about a half an inch long. They're big long things. They're about like the tip of a toothpick. And if they bite you, it hurts. Their venom is about as strong as household ammonia, so it would do that. And they don't brush their fangs, so I've been bitten by snakes, tons of snakes. Pick up wild snakes, and you're not careful, they bite you. I've never been bitten by a tarantula. Good. And I wouldn't care to. If that tarantula were to bite you, we'd go and we'd wash it off and just see if you had any kind of reaction. It's like a bee sting. Chances are if you get stung by a bee, nothing's going to happen, but you can't be allergic to it. But there are spiders that are dangerous. They're truly dangerous. Black widows, you've heard of those? Yeah. Okay. Brown recluses. There's a spider in Australia that.
Bird-eating spider?
A what?
Bird-eating spider?
No, the bird-eating spider's from Africa. And one of my friends said they saw one of those, like the bird-eating spider. They were messing with it, and it reared up on its back, and it just squeezed, and venom came out of its teeth, out of its fangs. And You should listen to that one. He doesn't want to be handled, you know. It's just, he's telling you that. I've never had that happen. I like to, spinnerets. Let's talk about webs. All spiders make webs. Now some spiders use webs to hunt in. You know, like we've seen in the garden, the big garden spiders, the orb ones. They will catch a bug that's flying. Some spiders, like the tarantula, and spiders don't see very well. We'll talk briefly about that. But I gotta get going. All spiders make webs, and usually they make a web that's their nest, like it's their house. Okay. I'm just going. Oh, this is interesting. Spiders have things called spinnerets, and that's how they make their webs. And the spinnerets, when the web comes out, it's liquid. And then as soon as it hits the air, it starts to dry and it turns into silk. And it's very fine and very strong. It's as strong as steel if you compare the weight of it. So it's pretty interesting. What else? I gotta get going here. Oh yeah, the tarantulas actually live under the ground. They usually have something that goes down and it's cool. And so they can live in the desert. Remember I said they're cold-blooded, so if they were in the desert, their body temperature would be 120 degrees. That's too hot. They would die. So they go down in their it's about that far into the ground and that far back, and it's cooler there. You know, I mean, it's like it can be 70 or 80 degrees. So spiders, I was worried about this, what would happen bringing all the critters here. The spiders do better in the cold than the thing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's the biggest spider that lives in Minnesota?
Naturally or in my house?
Naturally. That you might find when you're camping.
Oh, yeah, good question. And not to be alarmed. The biggest one is probably a thing called a wolf spider.
Okay.
It looks like a little tarantula.
And about how big does that get?
Oh, they can be about that big.
Okay. And are there any rattlesnakes in Minnesota?
I think I think there might be in the southern part. Another snake. It's a good question. What are some of the poisonous snakes? I'm sorry, don't say poison. Say venomous snakes. And never mind. That live in is to the far south and probably out of the state is copperheads, and they're called copperheads because they're coppery. You know, you can look up copperhead, and there are I think there's a couple of rattlesnakes that live in the very south. More when you get down to Iowa and Missouri, you know, in that range. There are venomous snakes in Minnesota. Gotta go.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Scout Pack. Well, let's
So
save the
I want you guys
questions.
to ask some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well,
Questions, not stories,
I've
please.
seen a wolf spider on a dock.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there are some water spiders that are large, but those are more to the south.
No, wolf spider.
I know, but I said, yes, you're right, but there are large spiders, as big as wolf spiders, that they live in the water in the south. Yes.
So I heard that copperheads, they smell like cucumbers, and then there was a joke, and it was like, don't get them mixed up in your salad.
That's a good story. I never knew that they smelled like cucumbers,
not stories, please.
I'll have to take your word for it. That hand right there, I can't.
Sounds.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Once I saw a tarantula at a zoo.
You saw what?
A tarantula at a zoo.
Oh yeah, a lot of nature places have them because they're big and they're interesting. I mean, kids love them. I love them.
How many snakes and spiders do you have as pets?
I have 2 tarantula at the moment and 3 snakes. The 2 of which here and 1 is mildly venomous. It's called a what's it called? A Baron's Racer. And I wanted to bring this, but I was worried because he really, it's hard. The cold is hard on him, and he's very excitable. I mean, you would have loved to see this, and maybe sometime I'll bring it. But if he bit me, it would just make my hands swell up a little bit. I won't have a dangerous pet. I mean, I won't have anything to put me in the hospital, so you wouldn't have to worry. But it's a really cool snake. It's all green, big stripe. It's wonderful. If you, yeah, okay, let's go. Who am I? Well, no, he's.
Wild and free.
How tiny are when they come out of eggs?
How tiny are they when they come out of the eggs?
Very.
They're small. Well, it depends on the snake size, you know. But I mean, they're small. Like I said, when I get them and they've been fed 3 times by then, due to the pet store, they're about as long as a pencil, and about the same dimensions. You call the people, I don't know their names. Okay.
Brennan.
Yeah, oh, I likes it. Yesterday I just got him out just to get used to being held a little, and I put him on me, and they love it because, okay, if air temperature is 76. What is the temperature on my body? 98.6. So they like that, you know. But the answer is yes. He was warmer around there. Yes.
So, just a quick question to follow up on the how many
Yes.
snakes. Why do you like to have snakes and spiders? They're not a usual pet, and we know there are some phobias. What is it about having snakes and spiders that, you know, you've had it for the entire marriage?
There must have been. I must have some other value for her.
Can I answer that?
All right, go ahead.
He's kind of a unique personality, and he's always had them. Before we were even married, he's had them, so I knew what I was getting into. But I think it goes back to when he was a scout. His mom was the committee chair, and they were very active in scouting, and he would do nature talk. He would just take animals from around, you know, the area. He grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, so they have different native creatures. So he's been always into snakes and always into spiders, but not these exotic ones.
Okay, and
It just grew.
Very briefly.
In grad school, a colleague gifted him a tarantula at a difficult time in his life, and so
It
that
goes back to
started.
when I was 8 years old and much like these kids, and my mother took me to see the movie called Tarantula.
Oh.
And it was one of these giant bug things, you know, it was very, very well done, and it scared the crap out of me. I had to sleep with the light on for a week after that, but it just got me really interested in these things, and I just started, I figured, I don't know, yes, that's the God's truth.
Other than all the gear and
Yep.
supplies and stuff that you need, do you need like a special permission, like a license to have snakes or spiders as pets?
Trying to not be a criminal.
No.
There are certain laws. The pet store people have been fighting the characterization of certain species of snakes. That I don't know why. There's just too many laws. So I'm actually not sure. I don't think so, but that wouldn't stop me because.
So you don't go and get a snake license for your pet snake?
No, but it may be that certain species of snakes and things are technically illegal, so the snakes go out and run after you, but I see no reason for that.
I imagine it's like beekeepers in neighborhoods. It's the
Exactly.
kind of,
Our chicken,
it's not,
our chicken keepers,
Right,
they
chicken
even get
keepers.
permission of the people
Right.
around it, so
It's-
it's a harmless thing, and it gives pleasure to Boy Scouts, so I'm for it.
We've had them ever since we moved into our house. All our neighbors know, even the ones who moved in and out. We've given talks to all of our neighbors' kids through the years, through
What?
the schools. So there is an ordinance, but it's the amount you have.
Got it.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear about our fire 3 years ago and the firemen coming into the room where we had the pets, we'll tell you where we were.
And one thing I forgot to say is that tarantulas can jump. Okay, there's another question back there.
What do you say?
he forgot.
Okay. Brennan.
Yeah, actually, this is for me.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Have you ever had a snake or a tarantula get lost in your house?
Oh, yes. That's why I have two of them. One got out. My son made me a cage top, and he didn't make it perfectly, and it was with a wire, not wire mesh, just plastic. So the tarantula, that's another thing. Tarantulas can just crawl right up the side of the glass. They have sticker pads on their feet. And so he climbed up and he patiently bit through the plastic thing, and there's a little hole there, and if they can get their body out, they're out. So he got out, she got out, and she disappeared. So I put out a little water on the thing and just tried to catch her. And about 2 months later, I think, well, she's dead. She didn't have any. They need water. They can't. And but then I looked down where I had one of the little catchers, and there was this spider skin there. And I thought, well, she died, and just shriveled up. So I went to reach her, and she rears back up like, hello, I'm alive. And so she didn't know. I didn't tell her that it got out. So prior to that, to make her happy, I went out and bought another tarantula that just looked like that one. It's and then I found the other one. So now I had to explain why I had two tarantulas.
I rarely go in that room. It's a separate room. It's an office. They all have their own individual aquariums, so they never ever get out except for when our young.
Anyway, so Scout is supposed to be honest, okay? Just let that be a lesson to you. Okay, I think we're done. I'm sorry it took so long.
No, that was great.
Yes, now hold on. I want to let you, I know, come on out here. I want to let you touch this. Parents, this is totally safe, and if you want to do it, fine, but I'll get him out. And I want you, if you do touch it, hello.
Do you want to sit here?
I can just stand. Yeah, that's fine, that's what I'm gonna do. Just have a just don't make fast moves around his head. If you want to feel, however you want to manage this, fine. And notice, if they say snakes are slimy, that's not true. When you touch them, it's like very expensive leather. So you can come up and touch him. Let me find his head. Now he's being a ball python.
One at a time. I mean, being live.
Yeah, he can hold it. It's still heavy.
Hold on, no, sorry. Roll two, sit
Make a
down.
line, you guys.
Roll three, sit down. We're gonna go row by row. So it's not too crowded. Row by row. Row by row. Row by row.
Yes, you can. Nick, can you bring
That's pretty cool.
Go around to the other side and look at some of the skin again.
We're gonna bring this.
Go around to the lady, she'll show you the skin.
Okay, turn it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, someone's holding.
You don't need chalk.
Put him at the end of the line and I'll take it out. Okay, do what you want. Okay. Yeah. See, and you can feel the skin. No, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Okay, hold on. Let's wait for the rest of them.
Hey, so wondering why I would have to move over here.
Okay, next row.
You want these guys?
Yep.
Come on through. How heavy he is?
Carefully.
Slowly. Looking at you.
Oh.
You have to start on the
Yeah, they have shot.
You can just
Just touch him.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. Just go closer. You don't have to touch him.
Oh, yeah, you don't have your hand on the table. Well, you can get your own pass. You can guide us,
Oh, huh?
Yeah, you can take it. I have some bigger
The
pieces.
line is now, Luke, are you in line for this?
Fight for this.
So Silas is the end of the line.
Something.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Back up.
Other people need to touch. I'm taking it out of your time.
Okay, I guess you got
Is
it.
it nice?
Okay, well,
Listen to Gary, right?
Yes, you can.
just kind of hold your hands out.
Just hold your hands close together. Isn't that something?
Is he heavy, Silas?
Feels nice and
Here, you want some skin?
Okay, let me get this. Let me I just want to keep his head where I can see him.
You don't want to lose track of the head.
It is. I mean, your notion of what a snake is like is totally wrong. What do you think?
Archie, great job.
Archie, you want some
Well, you
snake?
have to, if you want to.
You can keep that.
You can just touch it.
There you go.
That's why I want to read it.
Adults can touch too. Okay.
Yeah, and they're smooth, aren't they?
Pretty cool, Jack.
Tiger!
Good job, Jackson.
We're on to room 7. Where's, I got 7. I got Matthias and William right there with the Tiger. We're going 6. Spiders, we're gonna go.
You can take a bigger piece.
William, Matthias.
Other guys, people over here.
If you touch the snake, remember to wash your hands, right? Wash your hands if you touch the snake.
They're not very anybody adults by all means. Oh, yeah, they're very
I got that big old
That's all muscle. There, now you have a snake. Oh, that's okay. Anybody want to touch? Oh, you got, sorry. You take more of that. Take it and give the pieces to your friends. Okay, I want to get the little one briefly. Anybody? Is this okay?
Let me get a quick photo of you with
one around my neck?
freckles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this is perfect. I got the photo on the neck. Here we are. Ready? Got it. Thank you, sir.
Can we touch the little guy?
Yes, you can.